Welcome back to Alan Wall's Photography. Welcome to the woods. This is Alan, and this morning I want to talk to you for just a little bit about photographic style. Specifically, I want to talk to you about your photographic style. Before we get started, there are two little pieces of housekeeping, and they both pertain to the YouTube channel. I discovered the other day that there's a tab on the YouTube channel called Community that allows me to communicate directly with you through written posts, photographs, videos, and it looks like a very useful tool and a cool way for me to keep you up to speed with what's going on, let you know what's coming. And I discovered it also has a feature where I can put a poll out to get your opinions on things. And as it happens, the second piece of housekeeping is I want to get your opinion on something. So I have put a poll up in the community. And what I'm asking in that poll is, what do you think about me putting some advertising on the channel as a way to generate a bit of revenue? There wouldn't be a channel if it wasn't for you guys. There would just be me talking to myself, and I've been doing that for years. So I think it's critically important that I clear this with you. So when you see that poll, please give an answer. If you don't mind, it'll only take a second, and that way I can get a feel for what the opinion is generally on whether or not I should do this. Anyway, let's get down to business today. And rather than point this thing at my face, I'm going to show you this glorious little corner of nature that I'm walking around in today. So my interest in what we're going to talk about today stemmed from an overheard conversation. It was a photography instructor telling a young person that they would be happy to teach them how to develop their photographic style. When I overheard that, it triggered a few thoughts. And ever since that time, I've been pondering this whole idea of style in art in general, but in photography in particular. Because I think that the information that instructor gave to the student was not accurate information, not good information. And let me explain why, because I think it's actually rather important. Style, according to the dictionary, is a way of doing something. It's a way of doing something that is characteristic of, say, the person that's doing it, or the time, the place, the culture. It's something that is a recognizable way of doing things. And I think you all agree that, most of the great photographers of recent history have a very recognizable style. You can look at a portrait and have a pretty good idea that that was an Annie Leibovitz shot. And it would be hard to look at a huge photograph, black and white, of towering mountains out in the west with gloomy, foreboding skies and not think of Ansel Adams. You could say the same for music. I mean, you don't have to be a huge fan of popular music to be able to recognize a Cake song or a David Bowie song. I mean, these are examples of style, and it's no different in photography. It's style to us as photographers is the way we take photographs. And therein lies the real issue. What are we doing when we take photographs? If I were to take a picture, say, of this little cluster of leaves here, am I trying to create a permanent record of what a green shrub looks like? No, of course not. What I'm trying to do is capture what I am experiencing now in this little copse of trees. What I'm trying to do is make a record of how this is impacting me at this moment. And that is what photography is all about. And my style is how I choose to do that. Now, everybody's style has the same components. When I photograph this tree, I'm going to be considering composition. I'm going to be photographing a tree, which right there might be part of my style. I'm going to be thinking about the lighting, the shadows, the color, the geometry. All of the components of a photograph are also the components of my style. One way to think of style is like our DNA. DNA is made up of a few fairly simple molecules, and the only thing that makes DNA so massively complex is the way those few molecules are arranged over and over again in the molecule of DNA. Everything about our DNA is the same except the way those building blocks are put into position. And that is precisely what photographic style is. Your photographic style and mine can never be the same because there is an almost infinite variability in how the various components are put together. There are two distinctly different ways for us to think about photographic style, and it's all about perspective. There is style that we see in the work of other photographers. That's a mechanical style. That's something that we can catalog, copy, teach. And then there's our personal style, and it develops when you're not looking. And the only way you can ever see your own style is when you look back at your photographs. There is no such thing as an authentic style that you plan or teach or copy. Because as soon as you are consciously developing style elements, you're no longer developing authentic style. You're copying somebody else's. And there's nothing wrong with that. We do it all the time. If you've ever done any commercial photography, you'll know that none of it consists of your own style. The people that are hiring you don't want to see your style. They want to see the product precisely the way they've envisioned it. You are using a mechanical process to generate a mechanical style that the person who's paying the bill wants to see. So how do you discover what your style is? The best way is to look at a selection of your photographs over a period of time, preferably a long period of time, and select those images that really, really move you, that suck you back to that moment, and they're powerful, they're evocative. Even if they're terribly subtle or even bad images, that's not what matters. What matters is they connect to your inner core when you look at the pictures. And then if you look at them as a body of work, that's when you'll see your style. That's when you'll appreciate the style that you've developed. But as soon as you start to then emulate that style or improve that style, it's gone again. And you're simply mechanically copying another person's style, even if it's your style. Very often when we try to copy the style of another photographer, we tend to exaggerate what we see. We identify those characteristic traits that we see in another photographer's style, and then overdo them so that we can make it look even more like their style. It's almost impossible not to do. But what is a little bit less apparent, though just as true, is that when we try to copy our own style, which is what we do when we try to recognize and improve upon our style, we end up doing the same. We end up creating an inauthentic copy, a new version of the true style that developed secretly while we weren't paying attention. And why is this a problem? I believe that as soon as we start consciously trying to emulate a different style, we stop developing style of our own. Our true, authentic style is that odd mixture of composition and subject and light and color that we choose when we're taking photographs that are deeply meaningful to us. And we're not paying attention to the fact that this is our style being born. You can't think your way into style. You have to photograph your way into style. And by that I mean, you have to take those photographs that hit you right in the gut, photographs that touch you when you look at them 20 years later. You want to see your style? Look back at the pictures that move you. Look back at your very best photographs. If you're taking photographs like that, you won't be able to stop your style from developing. But as soon as you recognize what all of those menu items are to create a photograph in your style, and you try to replicate it so that you can improve upon it, you're no longer taking authentic photographs. You're taking copies. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You can't teach style. You can't improve on your own style. All you can do is take the best pictures that you possibly can, the most honest, the most from the heart images, and then try to figure out your style after the fact. So if you want to develop an authentic photographic style, go take pictures. I tell you to do that at the end of every video, and that's why. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. I'll be back to my usual shallow self in a day or two. I'll see you again in a few days. Get out there and take some pictures. Develop your style.